The following is a presentation of the Big Ten Conference.
New head coach Curt Cignetti has brought a rare swagger here to Indiana. Today he's got a chance to make history and become the first Hoosier coach to ever start his tenure 4-0. Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Marathon. Charlotte out of the AAC in town to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. 3-0, already a Big Ten win under their belt and running onto a field in front of a crowd that suddenly has a new confidence in its football program. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Yogi Roth. I'm Guy Haberman. Indiana isn't just changing minds quickly with wins. Yogi, they're doing it with dominant football.
Yeah, they have been absolutely dominant in a lot of phases. It hasn't been perfect, right? Penalties are an issue, but bottom line, this team is going from hoping things go well to a true grounded confidence and knowing it and expecting to go out and dominate opponents. They got a tough test today, so we'll see how it shakes out, but this is a team that feels matured.
They're one of the highest scoring teams in the nation, and they're led by a guy who's been around the block, right? Curtis Rourke comes in, 5 years of football at Ohio, and suddenly he's looking like a better and better quarterback every week.
Well, look, some quarterbacks play catch and some play quarterback, and this young man is dealing, and I love how he's doing it because he's operating with progression. He understands where the ball needs to go, where defenders are dropping to, and look at this throw. First throw of the game a week ago, perfect location, Miles Place, the sticks are moving. Then UCLA says, okay, we're going to bring a little pressure. He gets it up and over a 6'4" safety who drops in the box. Beautiful location to Miles Cross. And how about this? This is just true confidence, guy. On his back foot, perfect arc, beautiful location. And this is a confidence that all quarterbacks have to play with at big-time levels. And this is why he's playing graduate-level football in his 6th year. He can see a defense. He's got eye discipline, left to right. He understands where it's going the whole time. This team is playing with tremendous confidence because he is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in this league.
It's not just the offense, though. Third member of our team, Rhett Lewis, is down on the field. It's dominant. Defense has been dominant too, Rhett.
Exactly right, Guy. And defensively for Indiana, linebacker Aiden Fisher is the CPU. He wears the green dot for helmet communications and is an extension of defensive coordinator Brian Haynes on the field, who loves his football IQ, his quick reactive feet, heavy hands, and the way he destroys blocks on the way to the ball carrier. Off the field, Fisher also helping to destroy any remnants of Indiana's recent struggles. One of 13 transfers coming with Coach Curt Cignetti from James Madison. He's been vital to the buy-in of the blueprint, raising the level of daily expectation and becoming a shining example, guys, of what it takes, paying the cost for consistent success, which has been a hallmark of Curt Cignetti's coaching career. Guy, Yogi, that bill comes due once again today against a Charlotte team they expect to play up to the level of competition.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a lot of winning. He's done a lot of winning in his career. The only thing that hasn't happened, they haven't won a coin toss yet. That happened today. So it'll be Biff Poggi's team that starts on offense, the Charlotte 49ers, coming off a dramatic win last week, last second. And just like Curt Cignetti, it's a team that is taking over and changing things quickly. Their roster has turned over a ton, 44 transfers, year 2 for Biff Poggi. He said you won't see him in sleeves unless it's under 15 degrees. It is not under 15 degrees today.
It is not, and this is a team that's playing confident. They love these types of games, whether it was last year against Maryland, this year against North Carolina. They have a lot of players that have transferred from major schools in Power 4 football. Expect them to not be intimidated by today's atmosphere or opponent.
A win at the Rose Bowl last week, so dramatic, right? If you're Indiana, you're 1-0 in the league. So how would the team handle that success? That's one of the questions Curt Cignetti wants to answer today. Henry Rutledge returning it for Charlotte, out to about the 22-yard line, a return of 10 yards, and it was out of the bullpen for Trexler Ivy, QB3 when the season started. He had a 21-point comeback last year against Tulsa. And last week, he led 3 straight scoring drives, was 11 of 12 passing in relief of the injured starter, Deshaun Purdy.
This is just who this young man is. He's a walk-on, came the challenging road to earn a scholarship. It led them to a comeback win a year ago, did it a week ago, and I love how he started 6 of 7 on his first drive last week. And they want to get the ball out of his hands quickly, take what this aggressive Indiana defense gives them.
Henry Rutledge is the motion man. And Ivy looking to throw. The whole thing gets blown up on first down. And Aiden Fisher, who Rhett just told us about, comes up to make a play after a pickup of 3 yards. They're without Teron Kelman, the transfer running back today, but they got some playmakers. Johnny King, the center, he's going to be in charge of helping Ivy decipher what the Indiana defense is doing. Sean Brown was a star down the stretch last week, one of the key receivers and transfers leading the way for that 49ers offense. Ivy, and that is incomplete, out of the reach of O'Mega Blake, and it's 3rd down. Aiden Fisher again in coverage there with Jalen Walker. It's a defense that has a couple changes on it. Well, one key change on it to start. The good news, CJ West able to play, won the appeal on the targeting play from last week, so he is able to start this game. We already saw Aiden Fisher make a couple of big plays. In the secondary, Jamari Sharp is starting in place of D'Angelo Pons, who's sitting the first half as a result of a targeting last week, but he will be eligible to return in the second half. 3rd down and 7. And Ivy's able to get it complete to Jairus Mack, but shy of the line to gain.
You know, Guy, this defense does such a nice job of challenging the offensive line. The defensive line is spread out all over that defensive front. You really have to communicate up front. Quarterback Ivy had to get rid of the ball quickly, and the defense of Indiana said, no problem, we'll give you a nice little game, but you will not get to the sticks. A nice stop on their very first drive.
Michael O'Shaughnessy is the punter, kicking away to Miles Price. O'Shaughnessy had a 73-yarder last week. He's a former Big Tenner, 4 years at Ohio State and then at Michigan State last season. And he hangs this up for Price, who's been trying to get free. And he does that to start Indiana with very good starting field position. A return of 21 yards. Well, Curtis Rourke did something rare last week in a dominant win on the road at UCLA. Not only did they put up a bunch of points, 42 in the victory, a 29-point scoring margin for Indiana, but he won the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week award. 307 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, the first Indiana quarterback to throw 4 touchdowns since Michael Penix.
What I love most is him on 3rd down. 9 of 9 a week ago. He's 12 of his last 12 on money downs.
Tyson Lawton, part of a very deep running back room, and he gets the start and the first carry of the day. And that's going for 1 yard.
17 walk on the carry. 91.
Very Hoosier-centric offensive line, right? So much change. The only new Hoosier this year is Trey Wettig, the right tackle, the Wisconsin transfer. Elijah Surratt has been part of a multi-headed attack for this Indiana offense. It's really done a good job of spreading it around to a variety of receivers. And that's Miles Price with the first reception of the day, but it doesn't go anywhere. And it's a big 3rd down coming up, Yogi.
Yeah, nice job by this defensive front. That was Dre Butler on that. And this is a defense that is very aggressive. Charlie Jackson on the interior defensive front. They're going to try to get up the field. These defenses mirror each other a little bit. Reed Williford, he's the guy at the linebacker position, the communicator, making sure they're constantly aligned into the back end. CJ Burton, he's playing in the nickel position, number 4 over the slot at the bottom of the screen right now.
So great starting field position to start the game, Yogi, and now they got 3rd and 9 to try and take advantage of it.
And I think it's 4 down territory. If you can just get half here, you're going to go for it.
Rourke steps up and throws complete to Miles Cross for a first down and a pickup of 12.
does a really nice job. Curtis Rourke just being calm at the line of scrimmage. See these linebackers right at the line of scrimmage. They're showing blitz, but on the snap they punch out. He sees it with ease and just deals to the sideline. Nice job moving the sticks. That's the veteran element of this quarterback.
And there's Cross again for about 3 yards.
You talk about third downs being so critical at this position. Just look at those numbers, Guy. I mean, 12 of his last 12, 2 touchdowns a week ago in that regard. And so much of his game where he's evolved in a brand new system is not only learning the playbook and mastering the playbook, but really not harboring plays. When he has a negative play, he can flush it and move on to the next snap.
Anderson Kobe has come into the game, and he's going to make a catch in a big spot and a first down. They wanted to get him more opportunities. It's so hot today, rotating receivers, and he keeps going all the way down inside the 10. What a play and a pickup of 24 yards, his second catch of the year.
Yeah, really athletic playmaker. They love him in the slot. Did a nice job in the spring. This is an RPO. Watch a little fake the handoff. See the eyes of quarterback Curtis Rourke. He reads it the whole time. The linebacker getting sucked in on the fake. It's a nice job. Just watch the eyes. Beautiful. Seeing the linebackers get sucked up. Throws it right behind him.
Rourke is perfect on this opening drive. Now he's going to give it. And jumping in for the touchdown, Tyson Lawton. And Indiana strikes first. A big 3rd and 9 conversion to get this drive going, and the 8-yard touchdown run for Lawton to cap it.
And it's because of this tight end, Zach Corton. He's been so influential in the run game. Watch him just pick up that defensive end. Nothing going there. Perfect block, kick out, walk for a touchdown.
That's the 3rd straight game that Indiana has started with a touchdown. If there was going to be any hangover today, no sign of it on the opening drive of the game. Yeah, thank you. Quick score for Indiana. Scoring drive presented by Marathon. 4 of 4 for Curtis Rourke, who's entering play today at 74% completion percentage, and Tyson Lawton, one of the many James Madison transfers on this team, with the touchdown to start it.
Such a vital part of this rebuild, record-setting rebuild potentially in year 1 here, are the guys that transferred in, Guy. They were all winners, right? 14 of the transfers were all conference players. I just think that veteran mentality, albeit their first time playing with this uniform on this season, has paid major dividends.
Part of a lot of success too. They didn't just come from James Madison, they came from winning. Curt Cignetti went 22-9 there in 5 years. It's Quintero to kick it away, and a nice return for Henry Rutledge. A little better starting field position for Charlotte. Today's Impact Players sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance.
Yeah, I think we talked, of course, a ton about Aiden Fisher, but now, you know, you got to continue to have him show up. I think there's a big opportunity for them to start bringing a little pressure. And then Colin Weber at tight end for this Charlotte team. He's really active. To me, when you look at the tight end grouping, it's probably their most talented position group on the field. We've seen them thus far utilize 2 tight ends at times on a possession.
They tried a trick play on the first, or at least we think it was. It didn't work on the first play of the game. So now Ivy's going to throw, and he throws complete. Deshaun Brown, a security blanket, and a first down, a pickup of 13.
Yeah, I think you want to move the quarterback Trexler Ivy a little bit outside the pocket today, just because of the physical and aggressive nature of this defensive front. That's when it's a clear picture. There's a little spot route, a little sit right there inside where the linebacker was. It's an easy pitch and catch from Ivy. And look, this is a veteran guy. He knows this system. He's been a pseudo coach, 3rd string quarterback to start the season. Now it's his 2nd drive of the game.
A couple of tight ends in the game now for Charlotte. And Cartavius Norton is the new running back. And it'll be Norton. And he gets pulled down after a short gain. CJ West right in the middle of that defense. If you're looking for the Maryland Villanova game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find the game in your area.
If you're watching the Charlotte team, they felt as though they'd be able to run the football. They'd be able to move the line of scrimmage. Did on that previous snap. You see him now in this heavy formation, a little bunch flank formation at the top of the screen. They want to run the football today.
Ivy looking to set up the screen, and he throws it complete to Jake Clemens, the third tight end, and Indiana snuffs that out, a 2-yard loss.
That's a great job from Amari Farrell. This is an area where UCLA had success in the screen game. Indiana knew that Charlotte was probably going to come back to that well. Nice job on second down, allowing it to look like it's going to be a successful play, and then Farrell, that rover nickel position, flying right to the ball.
It's an Indiana defense that's third in the nation, Yogi. They're allowing just over 3 yards per play coming into today's game. Bryce Kennan, the tight end, in motion on 3rd and long, and that is behind and incomplete, broken up by Jamari Sharp, who we mentioned he's getting that start for D'Angelo Pons today, and he made a big play.
Watch his right arm this whole time as he drives on the slant. You'll see it right here late into your picture. His left arm is kind of near that hip, not grabbing him. That right arm, that's perfect. That's perfect timing, guy. How you break up the ball. This guy making the most of a big opportunity for him today.
Miles Price had a nice return his first time, and he's got some space. Price to the sideline, stays inbounds, and finally gets pushed out, and he's out near midfield. So good starting field position for Indiana again today. The offense has done its job. The defense has done its job here to start. Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Marathon, proud to save drivers and their co-pilots up to $1 on every gallon, and by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Indiana great Victor Oladipo staying cool today as part of the Indiana Hall of Fame class. That rings true right now, right?
Yeah.
People are taking notice of this football program. Indiana versus everybody. There's a chip on the shoulder here of the Hoosiers, and they feel like they can back up a lot of some of the offseason hype that came with this football program. Justice Ellison is the new back to start this drive. And he'll get it. And step through a big hole and break a couple of tackles out into Charlotte territory, and a pickup of 17 yards.
This is a really nice job for Mike Shanahan. They shift, they motion, they start up in this bunch formation, and again, you follow this fullback right here, slash linebacker or tight end, Zach Horton, and he just leads the way, climbs up onto a linebacker, Reed Williford, and it's an easy run. They love this concept. That's the second time today.
Rourke throws quickly to Miles Cross, and that'll bring up second down and manageable. And Curtis Rourke was slicing and dicing on the first drive.
Yeah, look, he's just playing efficient football, sound football. This is what veterans are supposed to do. See what the defense does. They showed blitz on that snap. They punched out of it. He threw outside the numbers on a crossing route, understands that it's zone coverage, knows where to put the football. And again there, in a big play, finding another weapon from this receiving core, Anderson Kobe.
Here's Ellison again. Another big hole. And he steps across for a first down. Hey, Rhett.
Yeah, guys, you know, with Curtis Rourke, just watching him on tape, Yogi, I'm sure you can attest as well, he is a low blood pressure player. You can see the poise on tape that the coaches talk about with him. And one of the things he's really improved from week one is the eye discipline, guy Yogi, that Tino Sunseri really preaches with these guys.
First down and 10. And Rourke taking his time, making his 37th career start today. On the move. and he'll just take the yards given to him. What does eye discipline mean, Yogi?
Yeah, so that's a great example right there. Number one, you understand what the coverage is, and then you're trying to manipulate defenders. So you have to be disciplined when you go on this previous snap. Watch him look all the way to his left. He's not forcing himself to go fast through any progression. He's allowing the play to unfold. And what I love about this, the younger version of this player probably tries to throw this football, but he goes, not worth the risk, understands the situation they're in. He has the discipline to trust his eyes and run to make it second and short.
Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, told us there's 8 to 15 yards out there sometimes for him to go get, and they want him to go get him with his legs. And Ellison gets the first down to the 10-yard line, tackled by Ali.
You know, the thing that stood out a week ago against UCLA was this offensive line just pushing the front. They were going to be challenged today because Charlotte's so aggressive. All the bodies they're rolling in defensively. Indiana, in their first 2 drives, guys, they have moved this front at will. Keep an eye on the center. Mike Kadick, he's a true veteran, came back for a 6th season, the leader of that offensive line.
They haven't given up a sack since week 1. Here's Rourke keeping it, and he will get a couple of yards. And it's second and goal.
You know, the best teams are efficient in the tight red zone, right? You saw it last night in the Illinois-Nebraska game. You'll see it here on this drive. This is when quarterbacks have to get the ball out. You referenced Tino Sunseri, their quarterback coach. He was a heck of a quarterback back in his time at Pitt, and now he's carrying that over under Coach Cignetti. And right now, it is all about timing. I'd keep an eye on Elijah Surratt at the top of the screen in the slot.
And Horton is in the slot at the bottom. Surratt came down in motion. Rourke is looking his way up to Surratt. Too high and incomplete. You mentioned Sunseri. Only Kenny Pickett and Alex Van Pelt threw for more yards at Pitt than the quarterback coach Tino Sunseri.
And how cool is it that he was throwing to the offensive coordinator, Mike Shanahan, here at Indiana. These two, they can finish one another's sentences. They came together a couple years ago working for Coach Cignetti. You've watched this offense just evolve. We were here in training camp. From there to now, you just see the growth of this roster.
Third down and goal. Rourke throws too high, was looking over the middle of the end zone for Surratt, and now it's 4th down.
And to me, look, you could argue he missed, but as I'm playing quarterback from up here in the booth, that was a nice job of throwing it away, because if he tries to fit it in there, that might be a pick 6 going the other way. So much at quarterback is understanding what a high percentage decision is. Again, eye discipline, he goes, he wants to hit that little post route, but there is nothing there. Sees the safety drop right in there, and CJ Burton, he's all over it. Airmail it, live for another down, try to get 3.
Nicholas Radicic for the 27-yard attempt. Out of the hold of James Evans and Mark Langston, the snapper. And it's perfect. So Charlotte stands up in the red zone, and Indiana comes away with 3. Next Saturday, Big Ten Tailgate is right here in Bloomington as Mike Hall and Tyvis Powell are on campus to get you ready for the Hoosiers and the Terps. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
Tell you what, the thing that stands out, big picture for Indiana, is how many home games they have. 8. Right? I mean, it's amazing. Year 1 with the roster they have in this new league, who they miss. I mean, it's set up for success. Clearly, they're proving to be worthy of that success, but I think it is a really healthy situation for them when you just look at how the season is laid out for this program in their first year under Coach Cignetti. That's why all these people keep showing up.
How far could they go? You know, you start looking at 4-0, 5-0. I mean, long way to go here today.
I'm putting a limit on this team.
Rutledge will let this fly, so out to the 25-yard line. A beautiful day here in Bloomington, and the Hoosiers with the early lead. 10-0 Indiana leading here with 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Biff Poggi, in his second year at Charlotte, spent time in this league as an assistant in Michigan for Jim Harbaugh, a high school legend. a hedge fund legend, made a lot of money in that world as he was a high school coach in the Baltimore area, 19 years, and won a bunch of league titles. And now we're in year 2, right? This is only the 12th year of this program. They really feel like it started as an FCS, moved up to FBS. They're trying to build it from the ground up. Trexler Ivy hands it off to Hassan Wilson. And Yogi, they played some big games. They played North Carolina this year, had a 3-point game in the second half. They played Maryland tight last year. So they feel like they're on the way to making some statements as their season goes along.
Yeah, when you look at the teams that they're playing too, it's been a challenge for them. But I think the number one thing for the head coach you see on the screen now, like, he's got his own unique way, obviously. You see the cutoffs, you see just the way that he's operating on the sideline sometimes, but the way he operates with his team comes from the core of love. He's just pouring into these young men. He doesn't need to coach. He wants to coach. He wants to give back to the game that has given him so much. I think he's in a really unique position in the state of college football right now to lead Charlotte.
Hassan Wilson gets ridden down by Mikhail Kamara. Brett?
Yeah, guys, look, yeah, for Biff Poggi, he coaches, as he told us, because he owes. He made no, did not hide the fact that he struggled a little bit as a kid, and he had coaches and administrators who really changed his life, and he wants to provide that kind of impact for these players. Nobody better, as he says, for players that are a little broken to come in and get some love here at the Charlotte program.
He played at Pitt for Joe Moore and Jackie Sherrill, then went to Duke. His team right now on a 3rd down, and they convert for the first time today. That's Henry Rutledge out to the 45 and a big pickup of 14. Felt like the offense needed that, Yogi.
Yeah, they go right back to the well in the screen game. That's an area when you study Indiana, the teams have had success against them. This is all about patience from your quarterback. Does he have the patience to allow the rush to come? Blitz comes from the linebacker position. He just backpedals. Perfect location to his back, and so much today is about execution and belief. And what Biff Poggi just continues to instill, as Rhett eloquently said, is just belief in this team. And you're right, guy, they get a 1st down, and when you're on the road against a team that's had a ton of success, you just got to keep stacking those small wins.
Cartavius Norton dancing for a yard. Maybe. CJ West right in on that stop.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun element of this ball game when the ball's here around midfield. Mike Miller, the offensive coordinator, he wants to change up a variety of different things schematically offensively. So one was the screen game, and the defensive line has to slow down. The previous snap, they pull an offensive lineman. They want to slow down the defensive front of Indiana because they get vertical as fast as anybody in the early portion of this season.
It's really a fun matchup of coordinators today, and as every game is. Mike Miller, the offensive coordinator in his 2nd year, but he was the last 4 years before that at Maryland with Mike Locksley. Here's a nice run for C.J. Stokes, and that's a good chunk to bring up 3rd down and very short.
Yeah, so the idea is, like, when you're trying to get a ton of penetration like this defensive line is from Indiana, you can get quick hitting runs. Watch the defensive line right here on this side of the center. They're going to get upfield real quick, but boom, all of a sudden the ball's right past them. Same thing on this snap right here, guy. And when the offensive line feels as though they can get a little bit of movement because of the speed of the defensive front, it puts a lot of pressure on the linebackers in this Indiana defense. And the linebackers are the element of this defense that has to fill so much based on the aggressive nature of that front.
Now Trexler Ivy's going to go under center. C.J. Stokes has gotten a few carries. This time they fake it to him to give to Henry Rutledge. And Rutledge turns the corner with space. And Rutledge is all the way down inside the 10 before he's finally dragged to the turf after a pickup of 32.
Big assist to Mitchell Mays on the offensive line. You'll see him inside. Watch him pull and watch the linebackers follow him. They follow 77 thinking he's going to guide him to the ball, and all of a sudden it comes around the other side. Nice job of this offense. Watch everybody flows to their right defensively. Perfect execution. Mike Miller referenced this is all about execution, excitement here at the end of one. Couple positive plays in a row for this Charlotte offense and Coach Poggi.
Biff Poggi's group trying to weather an early storm from Indiana, and they're poised to do it after the first 15 minutes of football. Indiana with 10 quick points, but the 49ers are on the march as we head to the second quarter. Starting the second quarter, and a moment ago, Rhett Lewis spoke to Curt Cignetti.
All right, Coach, first 15 minutes in the books here. Offense comes down, scores on their first 2 possessions. What have you seen thus far?
Well, we didn't get much done when we were on the 10. You know, we could have gone up 14. Now, they're running the ball and hit us on the reverse. We got to make a stand here. So they've grabbed a little momentum. Got to play better.
All right, Rhett, thank you. As we start the second quarter, Charlotte is lining up for the 8th play of this drive. They've really struggled to score touchdowns in the red zone this season. But one here feels like it may change the game a little bit. Stokes going nowhere. He gets dragged down by Isaiah Jones. Jones, a guy who's been learning under the tutelage of Aiden Fisher, came in from James Madison. They're good friends. And Jones been teaching him the defense. And so far, we've learned that Aiden Fisher's a good teacher.
Yeah, keep an eye on CJ West right here, right over the ball.
Back to Stokes, and he gets ripped down again. Linnell Carr.
This defensive front, Carr being a big part of it, they've got freedoms, guy, to basically start wherever they want on the defensive line, as long as they get to their gap and their responsibility. Here's an example at the top of the screen. You'll watch Carr. He can start wide. You see how he cuts inside? Real great physicality against that tight end, Kennan, pushing him back into the pocket. And that's the freedom and flexibility that this defense under Brian Haynes has, which allows the linebackers to fill.
Third down and goal. Ivy under pressure, and he throws complete. Touchdown, Charlotte. Colin Weber, the first touchdown of his career, if it stands. A flag has come down. Our referee is Larry Smith.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, third down.
That hurts for Charlotte.
Ivy took a shot, too. Saw the pressure coming. Right to his left. He felt it coming the whole time, gets rid of it, gets popped by Walker. But remember, you can't go more than 3 yards downfield. The officials have a great view of this guy every single snap of the line of scrimmage. It's an easy call for them.
Also remember, Ivy's the third quarterback, so not much depth behind him. He's going to hand it off here. Stokes near the goal line. He gets hit, and he is down. One official says touchdown. So touchdown, Charlotte, but there's going to be a discussion here because the side judge is saying he's down at the 1.
23 of the carry takes it. Our correction, Stokes.
Well, for starters, it's a phenomenal play design. A little motion from a wide receiver.
Ruling on the field, it's a touchdown.
This is a really nice job by the entire offense and execution. You'll see the motion right there. Watch the impact he has on Carr at the end of the line of scrimmage. He just keeps running right through. Carr's nowhere to be found. He went with the wide receiver. A huge lane. You could drive a truck right through. And then just the finished leg drive. Just the effort, the will, ball across before elbow down.
And of course, I don't know if they're thinking this way, Yogi, but you rule it a touchdown. Scoring plays get automatically reviewed.
It's going to be that left knee kind of thigh area as well as the elbow when it goes down. I think it's such a tough angle.
Yeah.
From here, it looks like he's in. Let's see if we got one down the line.
I agree with you. I think he kept the left knee off the ground. Remember?
Yeah, the ankle is not down. He's good there.
And I think he's broken the plane by the time that elbow comes down.
Yeah, from that angle, you're trying to piece it together. This is the shot right here. Ball, yeah, to me, it's so hard when you're not right down the line, but.
All right, let's bring in Dean Blandino, who's watching this closely from Los Angeles, our officiating expert. What do you think, Dean?
I'm watching it like you guys, and I'm listening to you guys go maybe, sort of, and I'm in the same boat. It's that left knee. I thought initially the shin might have been down. but it stayed up, and then when that knee hits, where is the ball? To me, they ruled it a touchdown. I haven't seen anything to change
After
this.
review, the ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
Thank you, Dean. And you heard the way Dean explained it, and then you heard what Larry Smith just said. He said stands, not confirmed. And so maybe that means if it weren't a touchdown, it perhaps would have been down at the 1. But don't let the energy come out of the sideline for Charlotte after all that. They're on the board with a touchdown.
Well, to me, that drive was all execution, right? You got the reverse on the end around. You've got pull-in offensive linemen. Big win, Charlotte, on that drive physically at the line of scrimmage.
On a 3rd down and goal from the 13-yard line, Charlotte puts it on the ground, and Biff Poggi's team is in the end zone. Follow Big Ten football right now at B1G Football on X, YouTube, and Instagram, and get immediate access to the best highlights, features, and teams you love. Don't wait any longer. Follow at B1G Football on social media right now. Charlotte with a touchdown drive to start this second quarter. This is not a team that has pounded the rock, so to speak, much so far this year. But here at the Rock, look at that. They get a rushing touchdown on their first drive. They're already over their season average rushing total. And that goes back to last week when they had that wild comeback at home against Gardner-Webb. Time now for a studio update with Rick Pizzo in Chicago. Rick?
Thanks, Guy. Ohio State getting a first quarter test from Marshall. Thundering Herd actually score first before the Buckeyes answer back. Will Howard to Emeka Egbuka. He does the rest. 68 yards later, it is 7-all. A few minutes to play here in the first quarter.
All right, Rick, thank you. Of course, Ohio State, that's at the very end of the season, near the end of the season for the Hoosiers. They'll go there. Curtis Rourke with Justice Ellison getting the handoff on the first play of the game for play of the drive for no gain.
So much, whether you're looking at the Ohio State highlights you just saw against Marshall or this game, and you see the tight score early on, like it is the ultimate team game. So perfect example, the previous play, left side of the offensive line of Indiana gets beat, and here's a team, Charlotte's not as talented as Indiana, but if you just play more efficient football and all 11 are flying to the ball, you got a shot. That's why we've seen some upsets this year in college football.
It's definitely a Charlotte team too, Yogi, that's been tested already this season. Ellison with the stiff arm to get away from C.J. Burton, and he picks up 6 yards after the contact.
If I'm Indiana, I know they've done it a lot this year, but keep coming back to those runs when Zach Horton is leading the way. Nice job here at the end, using that right arm. You want to use a stiff arm guy to create some momentum for yourself, pushing off the defender, propel yourself forward.
3rd down and a long 3, almost 4.
He's so good with these claps, trying to just get a look at what the defense is doing.
The experience of Rourke. Pressure picked up. Rourke lofts it. Miles Price, and he's got it.
He's just such a vet. He's such a vet. You saw him clap once, fake a clap, fake another clap, understand they're actually going to come, and then here comes the pressure interior from those linebackers. He knows it the whole time. He knows how much time he has, and then he finds his receiver for another explosive play down the sideline to Price.
37 yards on the pickup, and that was another 3rd down conversion. Here comes pressure again, picked up again, another shot. Surratt's got it. What an adjustment, and Indiana's right back in the red zone.
Look, on one hand, yeah, great adjustment. On the other, great throw, man. I mean, this is back shoulder clinic right there from Curtis Rourke.
29 yards on that one. And Indiana gets down to the 3-yard line quickly here to set up. Handoff. Kaylon Black, and he jumps in for a touchdown. There is a flag on the play, and Black looks a little deflated.
During the run, holding, offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Carter Smith, the left tackle.
I love how they piggyback explosive plays. A lot of teams in the country will see that guy, but you cannot hurt yourself. You see that right there, the left tackle as the play unfolds. You see the back Black. He just kind of scampers to his left. When you feel a defender pulling away from you, like Williford did as an offensive lineman, you just got to let go, let go.
Kalon Black stays in the game. They transfer from James Madison, and they flip it around to Price. Horton blocking in front, and Price is going to lose yards or maybe get back to the line of scrimmage.
All right, let's go back a couple plays just to showcase this throw again. You see Surratt, nice job just stacking the defender, but it's the back shoulder throw and the ball location guy. You want to give him a chance. You want to throw it not on the sideline, but give it about 1.5 yards from the sideline so the wideout can open up his hips, make that play. And this is something they work every day, right? This is pat and go. This is individual drill. That was clinic worthy.
Pick up a 4 yards on the play. Back to Black. And Black gets hit immediately by Prince Wallace Bima. Rhett?
Yeah, guys, you know, the mid to upper 80-degree kickoff today, a little uncharacteristically warm for a late September in Bloomington here. And we're starting to see, you know, some of those rotations come into effect, certainly with the receivers. Just saw a 6th offensive lineman, Tyler Stevens, come in. But I feel like I could say that the one that's being impacted the most by the heat is me. I feel like I'm going to trade my sport code in for a Biff Poggi cutoff here pretty soon.
I'm sure they could get you one real quick. You know the people in charge of equipment down there, right? There's Ellison in motion. Rourke looks away. Rourke under pressure, trying to get it to Horton, who was interfered with, and that's going to get Indiana a fresh set of downs.
And that's a tough call right there. There's so much commotion going on inside.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic.
Yeah, this is so hard. Watch McGee, number 2, just trying to work his way through. Oh, look at all that. Look at that chaos inside. I mean, that's hard to kind of work your way through. I didn't see much of a hold there, but there was such chaos. And sometimes, you just got to impede the receiver a little bit. Back judge thought he saw it, threw the flag.
So fresh set of downs. Here's Ellison. And he is in. Touchdown Hoosiers.
You know, Guy, every game has momentum. They've got some random events, but they're guaranteed to have adversity. This drive has had that. Watch this whole offensive front right here on the beginning of this snap. The physicality, the puller again from a wideout. Even Rourke tries to get involved a little bit. It just forced the defense to hesitate just a hair. The defensive end, Ekwonu, number 10, was trying to crash down, didn't know if the receiver was coming out the back door. Touchdown.
Radicic. And he's got it. So Indiana answers the touchdown from Charlotte with a touchdown of their own. Experience the expanded Big Ten Conference like never before with Big Ten Plus. Stream thousands of non-televised live events across the Big Ten. Plus, enjoy next day game replays for every Big Ten game. Subscribe right now at BigTenPlus.com. Today's Big Stat is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Oh,
that's the big stat right there.
That's our guy.
We got one of IU's greatest right here, Rhett Lewis. It's been so fun to be on this campus with old number 81. Now you see his jersey, not just in certain places, you see it in special places like Nick's on campus was pretty cool.
Some people get their jerseys retired in the stadium.
Yeah.
Some people get their jersey retired in a local bar. That's right. And that's what Rhett has.
Yeah, so hey, if it's too hot, just throw an 81 if you want, brother, you know? Why not? This was so fun last night, just an absolute joy to go through this campus with Rhett. There's his jersey. The good establishment Knicks is probably popping off right now, as it should.
You know,
what do you think?
Yeah, you know, guys, as I was telling you guys, yeah, I mean, my accomplishments are sometimes more varied off the field here in Bloomington, but they get recognized nonetheless. And so I was glad to show you guys around here, but excited to be back here at the Rock. Always a good time.
You did get recognized a lot last night.
Walking through campus, it's awesome.
Friday Night Rhett is an interesting nickname. That's what everybody was saying. Charlotte, after the Indiana touchdown, back to work on the ground. So this is a change of, I don't want to say philosophy, Yogi, but this team rushes for under 70 yards a game, and they're running it right now.
It's actually on point with their philosophy. This is what they wanted to do from the moment Biff Poggi got this job. Think of his background in high school football, what they did at Michigan. They want to be a physical out. You look at the offensive line they have, and there's transfers from UMass, A&M, Clemson. I mean, a lot of players that want to be physical up front haven't been able to do that early on this year. 2 quarterback injuries later, they're finding some success running the football with Ivy.
A couple of tight ends in the game. And they'll run it again with Wilson. And Wilson will make it a 3rd down and a long 2.
And we haven't seen the tight ends getting too involved. Colin Weber, he's going to run onto the field here, number 18. He's been a key player for this offense. They like him in a variety of different areas. If Indiana brings pressure, I'm looking to 18 if I'm Ivy.
Weber caught a touchdown earlier that was wiped out because of a penalty. And he's attached beside the right tackle, or just behind the right tackle now. Ivy, and that's caught by Sean Brown, and that's a 1st down. He took a huge hit from Jalen Walker and held on.
It's a bunch to the top of the screen. They bring motion, so Brown is just isolated, man-to-man coverage. Good job getting out in front of the hit from Walker. And I know the crowd had a gasp, but to me that looked clean.
Yep.
Nice job, the details of players. And I think, look, targeting was not openly adored when it became a rule in college football, but look at it now. Look at how players, defensive players, understand the rules. They make plays. That's a clean hit.
You think the players have adjusted?
No doubt, at every level.
Ivy on the move, and that is caught by J. Iris Mack. And he's got a 1st down after getting a little help from Omega Blake with the downfield block. Pick up a 12.
The more they can get Ivy on the move, we saw it in the 1st quarter, one of the early drives, the better. It just cleans up the picture. There's so much action going on inside. When he can get out and just sprint out, see how clean that is? There's only 3 defenders out there for Indiana. When you can give your quarterback an easy lens, look, Ivy's not the biggest guy in the world. His defensive line is coming with a ton of diverse pressures, twists, stunts, linebackers blitzing from depth. I like how they've continued to move the pocket.
Trexler Ivy from Wake Forest, North Carolina, on the road and looking calm, and he short hops that to Omega Blake under pressure, and it's 2nd down.
Amari Farrell just continues to have such a role in this defense. He plays that nickel defender, meaning he can either play coverage or he also can fit in the run. We've seen him twice in this game blitz and have an impact on the quarterback. And I think right now, if I'm Trexler Ivy, it feels as though Indiana has a little bit of a bead on the snap count. So I would want to go on a hard count here, just try to slow down pressure coming from the slot.
Ivy steps up under pressure, and he gets rid of it, and he throws complete to J. Iris Mack. 19 yards, 2 defenders bearing down on him, and Ivy made the play.
Ivy kept his eyes down the field the whole time. Watch his eyes and his helmet from this angle. He never is going to look down. He feels the pressure coming, climbs the pocket, trusts the integrity. Red jersey flashes, he gets outside of it, but his eyes are downfield the entire time. This is a veteran player. Again, him outside of the pocket is going to allow for success as he found Mack there for a 1st down.
That's young Mario Landino, who nearly got there, the big freshman who they think can be a special player for this Indiana defense. Landino's lined up against the right tackle here, And Ivy sets up a screen, and this was blown up. He was looking for Weber. Indiana's been beaten by a few screens today, but not there.
Yeah, to me, that one's on the quarterback. I thought they had a shot to get Weber the ball there. It's just such a hard throw sometimes to get it up and down with efficiency when you know a defender is closing in on that screen.
8th play of the drive coming up. This is second, healthy drive for the Charlotte offense. Here's Norton. Cartavius Norton breaks a tackle, and Jones eventually gets on his back to slow him down, but a pick up a 6. And it'll bring up 3rd down and 4. Charlotte has converted 4 straight 3rd downs.
Watch Norton on this run. So much is about staying square. You'll see him right there. Watch his shoulders this entire run. Because he stays square, he can beat Fisher, who's playing linebacker, when he cuts it back. A lot of times running backs, you see him kind of choosing which way they want to go. If you stay square, you can read the backside of your offensive lineman and make a quick cut.
Empty on 3rd down. Ivy down the middle, caught by Isaiah Myers. Touchdown 49ers. 25-yard connection. What a drive.
How about this? The defensive lineman is going to flash real quickly in front of Ivy's face, and he's going to know it's coming. Here comes a looper, no problem. Sees it the whole time. He's playing with confidence. This is a great angle, guy. Watch. Here comes pressure on the looper, no problem. Dealing for a tug to Myers.
Ivy 2 of 2 on 3rd down on that drive. Isaiah Myers got free in the middle of the defense, and Charlotte has come to play here in Bloomington. Coming up, the 10th-ranked Nittany Lions hit the field at Beaver Stadium for a clash with Kent State as the doubleheader continues only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Indiana trying to get to 4-0, but a long way to go. Not going to be easy today against the Charlotte team that took a couple hits early. Indiana led 10-0, but Charlotte's put together a couple big, long touchdown drives on a hot day. And now within 3. Solomon Van Horst lets that go. Time now for our big stat, brought to you by Reese's.
So last week, you look at all their touchdown drives. Long, 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 long against the Bruins. And today, it has been efficient. It has been short. It's been a lot different than what it was a week ago, Guy. And now here we sit with 5:19 left in the half. Indiana gets the ball back second. So they're trying to get a 2 here, trying to really win the middle 8, the last 4 minutes or so of the second quarter, and of course the first drive of the third.
Rourke throws, and that's complete to Sam West, the first catch of his career, the true freshman from the state, and a big moment for him. Another explosive play for this Indiana passing game.
Love the formation, the play design, and then the execution. West kind of gets hid there at the tight end position. The motion takes all of the defenders of Charlotte. Beautiful job here. You'll see it just at the bottom of the screen. He's just running a simple wheel route. No defender there, guy. Easy pitch and catch to the youngster.
37 yards for him. That's the 4th completion of over 20 yards for Indiana in this first half. Rourke will hand it off. This is Lawton, and he gets ridden out of bounds. And a flag comes in late. Mordecai McDaniel was the man who made the tackle. We'll check on this penalty.
Personal foul. Defense, number 32, face mask. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Yeah, guys, looking at this Indiana offense, you know, it does look a little bit different than what this staff ran at James Madison. One of the reasons for that, especially in the run game, is the presence of Bob Bostad, the offensive line coach and run game coordinator. He was the only holdover from the previous staff and has really simplified things in the run game, allowing this offensive line to block any front with a minimal number of adjustments.
This is Keyshawn Williams on the quick pass, and it's a pickup of 4 yards.
Yeah, you just look at the previous snap right there. I mean, it's an RPO, and it looks like they're block and run, to Rhett's point. The snap prior to that, they actually do run the football. When you can make it look and feel the same thing when you're snapping out of your stance, it's a real challenge, not just for D lineman guy, but really those linebackers. And we've seen Indiana have success throwing the ball to the perimeter in the RPO game.
Knocking on the door again on 2nd down and 5. And this is Lawton, and he gets tripped up by Demon Clowney. What does it say, Yogi, about Curt Cignetti? He comes over, you know, half the staff comes from JMU with him, right? And one of the big changes they make from the only holdover coach from the previous staff here at Indiana.
Well, I think he's always had a plan, right? Whether you talk to him, you talk to the athletic director, to anybody that was on his staff at JMU, they had a vision for this thing, what this offense would be. He knew the success that the offensive line had here, wanted to keep somebody who had an understanding of what this roster was like. Really good decision by him in that regard.
3rd down. Rourke steps up. Rourke has the first down and the touchdown. There isn't much that hasn't gone right so far in Curtis Rourke's Indiana career.
Well, they're going to have some fun with this one in the film room. He sees the linebackers drop all the way to the goal line, so it's a no-brainer. Nothing's there in the pass game. And then he's about to slide right there. He's thinking, oh, do I get down? No, I got a shot to score here. Touchdown from the QB. Watch these linebackers just drop right to the goal line. He's saying, all right, there's nothing to throw the ball to, so I'm just going to tuck it and run.
Radicic flags before the point after.
There is a flag on the play.
Rourke is 9 of 11 passing in this game. That's 82%.
Offside with contact. Defense number 92. At the distance, we'll have a try.
You don't think about going for 2 here, do you? I mean, you got the lead.
Correction.
Just because they gave you yardage.
Will be declined. Try from the 3.
All right.
There you go. That's the decision. Look, Indiana hasn't been afraid to go for 2 this season. It's an aggressive nature. But I think right now, go see if you can get the ball back in this half. You look at the timeouts that Indiana has after this PAT.
Not much wind tonight, and Radicic right down the middle. Back in 30 here in Bloomington. Indiana just keeps marching down and scoring 24-14. 3:05 remaining here in the 2nd quarter. Curtis Rourke, the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week last week after the win in the Rose Bowl. And he's played a very clean game so far today, and he's had 2 big runs. Yogi Rourke has run for 21 yards in this game. Short kick, and it's picked up. And Wilson with a short return out to about the 22-yard line.
All right, so take a look at this touchdown run. Watch the linebacker, safety guy on the snap. They're all going to deploy, and they're all pretty much going to be in the end zone. Right now is when Curtis Rourke wants to throw it. There's nobody open. Not necessarily there. That's a tough throw. So he says, all right, let's tuck in and run. He thinks he's going to slide because of the defense collapsing on him, and then he realizes, now I'm going to put that left foot in the ground. Maybe back to his wide receiver roots when he was 4 years old, playing with his brother as the quarterback. Nice little move there, left foot in the ground. Touchdown.
Yeah, when older brother is the quarterback, you got to pick another position.
Find a position, right?
His older brother Nathan's the QB. Points on their first 4 drives today, including 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Charlotte has figured it out on offense on their last 2 drives after 2 punts to start the game. back-to-back touchdown drives.
Well, this is a critical drive, right? It's a 10-point ball game, under 3 minutes. I'm curious how Indiana uses their timeouts, because I'm trying to get the ball back. Then you get it again to start the third, right? Every coaching staff talks about the middle 8, the last 4 of the second quarter. This is a critical moment right now. And then for Charlotte, do you play slow or do you play aggressive and lean on the success you previously had?
You see Trexler Ivy's numbers there, 8 of 12. And here's Wilson getting ripped down by Mikhail Kamara. Well, what did Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator, tell us? He wants a vertically charged style of defense. And Kamara might be the embodiment of it.
Yeah, he's pretty impressive. He just comes right down the chute, really untouched into the backfield. He's had a heck of a season. He has stood out every single time you turn on the film. He's grown into a leadership role, and as he said, he's proven himself right versus proving other people wrong.
30 seconds.
That's a great point there, Yogi, about Kamara proving people wrong, because, you know, as we see him now, he is a focal point of this defensive game plan, which, as Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator, told us, the mission for Mikhail Kamara is to dominate the game, but it wasn't always that way. Lightly recruited guy. I mean, Kirk Cignetti even had reservations about giving him an opportunity at James Madison, and now they kind of laugh with each other walking off the field at practice here in Bloomington saying, hey, look at us both now, sitting here competing in the Power 4 in the Big Ten.
You see him line up next to CJ West, as you will here on this third down, and they're just hard guys to block. And not just because of their physicality, as Rhett knows and has seen it from the field level, but it's the freedoms they have in this system. They can line up all over this defensive front.
Indiana used a timeout to stop the clock here before the 2-minute timeout, which is coming up in 9 seconds of game time.
And I'd imagine Aiden Fisher's coming off the edge right here.
Third down. This is where Charlotte's been good lately, and this time it's incomplete. Another pass breakup for Jamari Sharp, and that stops the clock at 2:04 before the punt, and they'll get another stop after.
Yeah, this is one that Charlotte's going to want back. To me, Sean Brown, watching just a simple stop route at the sticks. Got a chance to make a play. Charlotte's going to say there was a little early contact. Felt like there was from up here. Nothing called.
4 Miles Price back for the Hoosiers.
So Miles Price back deep. He's had a couple of good returns already today. O'Shaughnessy puts this out of bounds near midfield. So Indiana's going to have a couple of timeouts. Just under 2 minutes left, and great field position here before the half. Coming up at the half, we'll send it to Rick Howard, Jerry, and Brock for the halftime report, sponsored by Defender. First half highlights and reaction from this one, plus what's going on with Ohio State. That's coming up. Well, Indiana scored a ton of points through its first 3 games. 31 against FIU to start it. Then 77 against Western Illinois, week 2. And then last week in the Big Ten opener against UCLA, a 29-point margin because they scored 42 points. So 150 points through 3 games.
I just think a huge part of that is also when they're in the red zone. They're not coming away with field goals for the most part. Scored touchdowns 5 times. Touchdowns last week in the red zone on 5 opportunities against UCLA.
Half the field and 2 timeouts here under the 2-minute timeout. And there's Surratt on first down with a pickup of 7.
Yeah, he's such a weapon for them. I mean, anytime you talk to anybody who's gone against this Indiana offense, he's the first name that comes up. But other guys have elevated, and I think it's a huge part of this evolution of this offense under Mike Shanahan, a former wide receiver, coaching this receiving group as well.
Rourke in no rush, hands it off to Ellison, and he gets stopped initially and then powers forward for the first down. That'll move the chains.
And most importantly, stop the clock. And remember, the headset communication's a big deal in college football this year. You got such an experienced guy in Rourke, and then Shanahan, a guy who understands this offense clearly as well as anybody. They know their automatic go-tos, their groove calls here in a 2-minute drill.
Rourke thought about loading up, dumps it down, batted up in the air, and it's incomplete. Big paw from Charlie Jackson. And now it's 2nd and 10.
He wanted to rip it to Miles Price down the seam, and he's about to cut it loose. But Price ends up breaking it to a poster. Watch him here. He wants to throw it now, and then he says, oh, no, nothing doing there. Tries to check it down. We'll see it here right in the slot, right there. Watch Price. Instead of keeping it vertical, he breaks it in. And I don't think Rourke thought that was going to happen. Decided to avert disaster.
So 2nd and 10. Rourke steps away from pressure, and he steps up and looks for a place to go down past the chains, and he's got another first.
Well, look, a huge part of being tough as a quarterback is not just standing in the pocket, but knowing the situation and having the toughness to say, yeah, normally I'd slide here, but I know where the sticks are. And when you're in a 2-minute offense, under 2 minutes in college football, you move the sticks, the clock stops. Nice job at QB1 falling forward instead of sliding.
He's averaging 8 yards a carry in this game on 4 carries. Rourke, clean pocket, steps up. There's Omar Cooper, and he can't quite bring it down. Good coverage that time by Trevon Booker.
Nice job by Booker. He struggled at times last week on some 50-50 balls. Watch him just turn his head late as the ball's in the air. You're thinking, okay, another back shoulder. I think a little too much air on this throw. See how Booker turns back? If not, if your eyes are always on the receiver, we've seen PIs called time and time again. Improvement from a week ago from number 20.
So now 2nd and 10. Indiana still hasn't used a timeout on this drive. They'll give it a long head of steam, spins forward, stays on his feet, and gets a first down.
Really masterful job there by Curtis Rourke. They shift into a spread formation, and Charlotte is going to drop 8 defenders, and he says, okay, let's hand the ball off. Nice job moving the sticks again.
Now Rourke wants to throw, and he lofts it, and he's got it. Keyshawn Williams, a touchdown machine. 19 yards on the score. And what a connection those two have made in a short amount of time.
How about this route? He's going to nod the linebacker, attack his inside shoulder, nothing doing there. A receiver on a linebacker. He's like, yep, that's his job. That's exactly what he's supposed to do. Nice work, touchdown.
How about this, Yogi? Keyshawn Williams now 5 catches this year, 3 touchdowns.
I love it. It's such a workman-like approach. You come to work, you do your job. Nice job, 2-minute drill, touchdown.
Indiana with 31 first-half points here, 26 seconds until the half. And Indiana will get the ball first to start the second half. Alejandro Quintero, the kickoff man, went in the tent after his last kick. That was a short kick. So Quinn Warren, who's the backup punter, is going to kick off for the first time today in a moment. Right after he gets the ball set. This Indiana offense just doesn't let you take a breath, right?
It was 17-14 a minute ago. You're thinking, all right, we got a game coming into the half, and whoop, here you go. Flip that script real quick.
Good kick from Warren. And Rutledge trying to make a play. And Henry Rutledge gets to the edge, and he almost breaks it. And Quinn Warren comes up to make the tackle. A return of 38, but a flag is down back at the 11-yard line. Charlotte has all 3 timeouts and just 21 seconds. See what this penalty is.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 10. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
See right there at the bottom, guy. See that block in the back. Just enough, and I think it's because he gets tripped up is why they end up calling that. Didn't look like a ton of contact, but enough to impact the coverage unit. Officials all over that. And unfortunate, because that was an explosive play, and that block probably doesn't impact that play very much either way.
So Charlotte's going to head to the locker room, down 31-14. Yogi, like you said a moment ago, it was 17-14. And Indiana's get the good ball first in the second half with a chance to make this deficit for Charlotte even bigger.
You heard Coach Cignetti after the first quarter. He wasn't happy with the execution and the physicality of that team. I think you saw that second quarter on.
Biff Poggi and his group, you know, they had a big comeback last week. Remember, they know how to dig out of a hole, but they're going up against an offense right now that doesn't seem to have any let up with them. Rhett Lewis is down on the field with Curt Cignetti.
Coach, your offense scoring on all of their possessions here in the first half, including a big one to finish the first half. What's working out there?
I guess we could have scored a touchdown on one instead of kicking field goal. No, those two scores at the end of the half are good. A little different than how we've been doing. It's far from perfect, trust me. We've made a few plays. We got a nice lead. We're getting the ball. We got to play with more energy and be sharper. We're not playing great.
Deep. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you so much. All right, have a good half.
All right, Rhett, thank you. More to work on, but plenty to be happy about for the Hoosiers, who take a 31-14 lead into the break. Coming up, the halftime report, brought to you by Defender.
One of the truly gorgeous settings in all of college football, also the site of Washington's first ever Big Ten Conference game as the Huskies host Northwestern later Saturday night. Mike Hall and Tyvis Powell have more from Seattle.
Rick, they call it the greatest setting in college football for a reason, and today will be the first ever home game, the first ever conference game for Washington as a member of the Big Ten. Michael alongside Tyvis Powell here. It is a great place to be. You know, it used to play in this city.
I did. I had a lot of success here. The fans are going to come out. This place is going to be loud. It's going to be shaking. Oh, I can't wait for the atmosphere.
It is a really cool building, even when it's just empty. When the fans in, it gets so loud. And the fans will be upset coming off of last week's loss to their rival, the in-state Cougs. What did you see in that game you want to see different here?
I want to see them improve in the red zone. I think last week they left a ton of points out there. They can't settle for field goals. They kicked 4 of them. If they turn just 2 of those into touchdowns, I think they win that game. So I'll look to see them improve upon the red zone offense. And on the defense, they got to leverage the ball and make sure that they make the right fits in the run game.
Yeah, being here throughout the week, getting to talk to locals, that loss stings. You lose to the Cougs, man. That sticks with them for a while. But they get a chance to bounce back against a Northwestern team that switched up quarterbacks last week. Yeah. They're looking good with Jack Lausch.
Jack Lausch is 2 different quarterbacks. Now, he has to play 4 complete quarters where the first half he used his legs a lot. The second half he used his arm. So if I was going up against them, I'd be concerned as a DB. I think they have to do a great job of containing him. If they do that, Washington can't win this game. But Jack Lausch is the X factor in this game.
Yeah, they certainly felt like a different team once he became the quarterback. It's a battle of purples, Northwestern and Washington, a little bit later on from here in Seattle. Rick, let's head back to you.
Mike, Tyvis, thanks. We'll put the finishing touches on the Big Ten Live halftime presented by Land Rover Defender coming up right after the break. The Indiana Hoosiers now just 30 minutes away from a 4-0 start to the Curt Cignetti era. Tyson Lawton and company with another offensive explosion. Indiana leads Charlotte 31-14 at the break. Inside our studios, we continue here on the Big Ten Live halftime presented by Land Rover Defender. Rick Pizzo, Brock Vereen, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith. Potentially a little bit of a trap game for Indiana just because you come off an important win. You're getting ready to go back into conference play next week. Charlotte scared them for about a quarter and a half, but the Hoosier offense right now, a little bit too much for the 49ers.
You saw the interview with Rhett Lewis and Coach Cignetti at the end of the first quarter. He obviously wasn't satisfied, and honestly, I don't see a lot of IU mistakes. Charlotte came to play. They are challenging them in a soft zone. Hey, can you pick us apart and drive all the way downfield? And the answer is kind of.
Yeah, we've said a lot of good things about Coach Cignetti and the program. Here's more good news, okay? No turnovers the first half. To your point, Rick, that they weren't fired up all that much for this game. 1 10-yard penalty. But how about this? The last drive, 1:56 left in the half, or a little bit more than that. There was a couple seconds left. 7 plays, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Now, it may have been because the players were scared to go in the locker room with Coach Cignetti, and so they thought maybe something positive would
motivation comes in a lot of different
ways. You got to know.
But that's coaching.
Yeah.
That's well done.
And I think you look at Rourke as well from the quarterback position. Really done a nice job. But what he's done with his legs. Now, he's going to take a lot of grief with some of those runs he's had, particularly the touchdown. But he's extended the plays with his legs, and that's helped this offense too.
It's not the effectiveness of the runs. It's the aesthetic of the runs. Not exactly the most beautiful thing we've ever seen. He's never going to be confused for a gazelle, but he is leading a team that is unbeaten and in good shape at the half over Charlotte. Ohio State, kind of a similar story, tested early unexpectedly by Marshall. Here's Ethan Payne, and the Thundering Herd lead at 7-0. It took all of 2 offensive plays for Ohio State to answer. And I'm not sure, Howard, if you're aware of this, but Ohio State's wide receiver room with guys like Emeka Egbuka, it's pretty deep.
Yeah, they're pretty deep. You can see the guys getting involved, running downfield and blocking, but that's what we come to expect out of this offense.
And Will Howard, there he does it with his arm, but here, kind of more of what he was known for at K-State. Big, strong, physical QB gets in. Another transfer, Quinshon Judkins came over from Ole Miss. This running back room is ridiculous. You have Travion Henderson and now Judkins, who has 4 carries for 118 yards
Slacker.
In the first half. It's 28-7, Buckeyes over Marshall. Here on the Big Ten Network, you're also watching Maryland and Villanova. How about Billy Edwards to Caden Prather right here? Edwards having a monster first half, nearly perfect, and the Terps lead it by 24. Give it up to Keyshawn Williams and the Hoosiers right before the break. What a terrific drive to finish the half as Indiana opens up a 17-point lead. It's 31-14, Hoosiers over Charlotte.
The Big Ten Network Halftime Report is sponsored by Defender.
Just getting our day started with you here on the Big Ten Network. Coming up in the 3:30 Eastern window, we take you to State College. Beaver Stadium will be rocking, as it always is, the number 10 team in the country. The Penn State Nittany Lions set to host Kent State. Again, comes your way at 3:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network in the Fox Sports app. Back to the game you're watching right after the break.
Today's Big Impact research takes us to Indiana University, where researchers are improving the health of one of the globe's most important pollinators, honeybees. Bees play a vital role in human food security and the agricultural industry in the U.S. and beyond. By studying the bacteria in and around the bees, researchers have identified that some bacterial microbes provide nutritional benefits to developing bees, which can help strengthen the declining population. Just about ready for the second half, and Indiana with a consistent offense and a late surge offensively, leading Charlotte 31-14. Hi, everybody. Welcome back in, along with Yogi Roth. I'm Guy Haberman. And look, this has been an offensive juggernaut coming into this game. Curtis Rourke has just kept it going.
Well, when they met adversity like they did early in that first quarter, he didn't flinch. He hasn't done it since he showed up on campus, and he did it in a variety of ways. When you look at the tape from the first half, right off the bat, a little inside slant to Anderson Kobe for a big play. He does the rest. Nice seeing that youngster make some plays. Then he takes a shot down the field. Miles Price, nice job by him. And then I love this one, finding Mr. Surratt, back shoulder throw, putting just enough air under the ball. Then how about the athleticism? Am I going to slide? Nope, I'm in the red zone. Going to tuck it away, find a touchdown, and then the throw of the day, the route of the day early on in college football. That was incredible. Keyshawn Williams, little nod on the linebacker, and this offense went from feeling frustrated early on in this ball game, Guy, when it's 17-14, to feeling confident and knowing that there's things to work on, and they get the ball to kick off the third quarter, trying to blow the doors open, especially when it comes to the middle 8.
This was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week last week.
Yeah. Hey, he's in the conversation again, right? Well, it's early in the day, but He's been impressive. I think the number one thing that I'm taking away thus far in the first half of seeing it live and in person, it's really his discernment, his ability to make decisions, keep his eyes downfield, high percentage decisions. He's done that all season long, not turning the ball over, keeping this team, for the most part, ahead of the sticks.
As a young kid growing up in Canada, all he wanted was this chance. And here he is now, a sixth-year player. His first year at Indiana after 5 years at Ohio. And he's going to jog back out with an offense that's been so dominant. So the question is, how does Charlotte and Biff Poggi react? Rhett just talked to the head coach of the 49ers a moment ago. What did he say?
Guy, coach is absolutely so proud of his offense and what Trexler Ivy has done as the third-string quarterback in a big spot here against this Indiana defense. Found some success in that second quarter, but he is beside himself with the play of his defense, allowing scores on all of Indiana's first 5 possessions in the first half, and it's the explosive plays that have him particularly irritated. They were an issue coming in. 4 more through the air here today against Indiana. He says the buck stops with him and these coaches on getting these players to stem that tide here in the second half.
And those explosives to 4 different receivers of over 20 yards. Rourke is going to throw, and there is Surratt. Elijah Surratt, a pickup of 11 yards.
Nice job on little play action again, a little RPO. It cleans up the picture for Rourke. And just a spot throw. And how about the catch to keep it from going to the ground with that right hand? Great competitive play from the DB as well as Surratt.
Tyson Lawton is the back out of the backfield, and that's on a rope again to Miles Cross, and a pickup of 9 yards. They just can spread it around to so many guys in this offense.
Well, the biggest thing, I mean, you heard Coach Cignetti talk to Rhett before the half of like their energy wasn't great. You got to feel that here. It's not like it's a sellout. Place isn't going bonkers, so you have to bring your own juice. You've got to create that. I'd imagine that was talked about a lot at halftime, but coming out on this first drive and just executing like it's a Tuesday practice.
Always on the lookout for a letdown. That's what Curt Cignetti told us this week when we talked to him yesterday. And he thought his team was ready for this game. There's Lawton with a first down run out to midfield. Lawton's averaging 5 yards a carry, and that was 5 yards on that. I mean, just look at this. That, of course, that counts the quarterback Rourke. 5 different players with a rush, 6 different players with a catch. And they are closing in on an Indiana 4-game scoring record. Their next score will make them the highest scoring Indiana team in a 4-game stretch ever. Oh, right on the money to Miles Price. Price cuts it back, and he just loses his footing. Ali might have prevented a touchdown, but another explosive, a pickup at 37.
And they do it with a motion. It's really impressive from Price. You'll see him kind of motion his way throughout this route. He got to his spot, then he got inside the defensive player, stacked him right behind him, put his right foot in the ground, and it's a nice little corner route. Again, the setup on the motion just cleans up the picture for Curtis Rourke, and Miles Price just continues to make plays. Look at him just tippy-toeing down the sideline. Great feel for not only the route, but where he is on the field.
There's a flag way back behind the
conduct. Head coach Charlotte, this is his first. That can lead toward disqualification.
You get 2 before disqualification. Biff Poggi upset about something. He's trying to look for any break here. His team was right in this. It was, as Yogi, we said it before the half, a 17-14 game near the end of the second quarter. Indiana taking the ball first here and giving it to Lawton, who reaches in for the touchdown. His second of the day.
Charlotte's defense looked a little confused on that motion. A lot of pointing, a lot of communication. And they run it right up the middle. A double team on that offensive line. Center doing a nice job. Let's see if he gets across the goal line. Yep, looks like that's a touchdown for Lawton.
I'm looking at his right elbow, Yogi.
It's another one of those similar to the first half. Like, where is the ball when the elbow is
Ruling
down?
on the field of a touchdown is under further review.
It's so hard to tell. To me, it looks like, again, called a touchdown on the field. As the elbow hits, does the ball cross the plane?
Looking at this back at Command Center in Rosemont. Referee Larry Smith over to the monitor as well.
That's a great shot right there by our crew. That's going to be close. Remember, it just got to be like a millimeter across the white for it to be a touchdown. That's going to be hard. Do you have enough? I don't know if you have enough, man.
I agree. I think you're right. Man, now they could stitch all this together back in Rosemont, right? Because they've got the time, the exact moment from one frame to another, and try to piece it together.
The ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
(37-14), and with that, Indiana scored more points through 4 games than any Hoosier program ever scored in any 4-game stretch.
How about in the last 7 minutes? They scored 3 times.
Radicic for the point after. And he's perfect. So much going right for Indiana. The Hoosiers trying to get to 4-0. Indiana comes out of the locker room and puts up another touchdown, 38-14, which makes this the highest scoring start to a season ever. 188 points for Curt Cignetti's offense in year one.
Well, just a phenomenal job too in the most critical part of the game, right? Every stat will tell you that middle 8. You know, they get 2 before the half, and they get the ball. And how about the efficiency, the energy they come out with, everything that he referenced to Red on the way into the locker room. I think this team exemplified coming out. Now we'll see defensively. I'd imagine they're going to be pretty aggressive here on this first drive.
Second kick of the day for Quinn Warren, who's replaced Alejandro Quintero on kickoff duty. And Rutledge, who nearly broke one his last time, will bring this out. And this gets stonewalled at the 18-yard line. Whoa. DJ Warnell with the stick.
Transfer UCLA to Arizona. Take a listen. Hey, I'll tell you what, when you're playing that way on special teams with a guy who you thought would be a starter, but he's not, you know the team is fully bought in under Curt Cignetti.
So Trexler Ivy back out. A strong first half. You heard what Rhett told us, head coach Biff Poggi said about how impressed he was with Ivy. Amari Farrell coming up to meet Norton, but a pickup of about 9 yards, Rhett.
Impressed with the way the run game has performed. Their best outing on the ground so far this season. It does take a hit though here in the second half. CJ Stokes, number 23, is out for the rest of the game with a shoulder injury, so that depth will be challenged since Teron Kelman, their best back, wasn't available for this game either.
Wow, yeah, Stokes was 5 yards of carry in that first half, including a big touchdown run. Second down and short. They'll go back to Norton, and Norton with another big gainer. Couple of chunk runs for him, 9 yards and then 11 yards on that one.
This offensive line under Coach Poggi, they want to control the football. They want to control the clock. They just haven't been consistent at all in this ballgame. They had moments when it was 17-14, they're moving the rock. To his point at half, they're giving up too much on the defensive side. They want to get back in this ballgame. They got to find a touchdown on this drive. I'd continue to be going to those creative counter-type runs where you can push the interior of the D-line.
It's a Charlotte team that trailed 20-3 in the fourth quarter last week. came back to beat Gardner-Webb 27-26. Trexler-Ivy hands it off again, and Norton bounces through a big hole again. And Norton just delivering body blows, a 12-yard pickup.
Yeah, almost a touchdown, too, if it wasn't for D'Angelo Pons. Remember, he had to sit out the first half due to targeting penalty. He comes off the edge. Watch him retrace. It's his fingertips that stop this from being a huge explosive play. Might have gone to the house.
Pons, a freshman All-American at JMU last year, replaced in the first half by Jamari Sharp after that second half targeting last week against UCLA. 9 yards, 11 yards, 12 yards. That's been the last 3 carries. Now it's Hassan Wilson, and he picks up 4 on first down.
We talked a lot about this defensive line of Indiana. They want to get vertical. They want to get in the backfield. So how do you combat that guy? You want to bring pullers. You want a little misdirection of the run game. All the big runs on this drive, you've seen one on that last snap, 2 offensive linemen pull. And what's it doing? It's creating creases for these backs to find and scoot through and get positive yardage.
Yeah, Charlotte's 2 scoring drives, Yogi, were long drives. They have been able to string drives together. Both of them were at least 8 plays. Back to Norton. Steps out of a tackle. Steps out of another. And he's got a first down. Cartavius Norton, the transfer from Iowa State, right now, he cannot be stopped.
Yeah, Norton's doing a nice job, and he's keeping his feet moving. See, again, 2 offensive linemen are pulling. He's got a fullback as well. Watch his feet. They just never stop, guy. They never stop. Closely connected to the ground. Again, almost bursts for another long play. You'll see these pullers right here. The fullback, 35. Watch him go to his left. 77, Michael Mays as well. And it's just distorting the read a little bit for these linebackers and defensive linemen and allowing Norton to find positive yardage.
They've run it all 5 plays on this drive. Would you throw it?
I wouldn't. Keep going back to the well.
Don't mess with Happy. Another handoff. Wilson. And he gets one.
38 on the carry.
Take a look at the previous play and watch star linebacker Aiden Fisher. See him right there, number 4. So, hope he's all right. Came out of the ball game. Sure, we'll learn a little bit more here. But he is the catalyst. He was driving. I don't know if his leg got hit as he kind of got whipped to the ground.
So the Big Ten's leading tackler off the field, and that shot is out of bounds for Sean Brown. Pressure was coming from Mikhail Kamara on Trexler-Ivy, and now it's 3rd down and 9.
So this is the part. If you want to get back in this ball game, as we referenced earlier, you got to find a way to score points here. I think a touchdown, and you're going to have to throw the football, right? They did it a week ago in their big comeback win against Gardner-Webb. The guy who was the catalyst there, a big part of it was Sean Brown and also Jairus Mack. Can they find them the rock, right? They got this touch chart guy before every game, but they say, we want to feed this specific player. I'd keep an eye on those wideouts.
Good to see Fisher back in, because Charlotte's been really good on 3rd down today. Ivy with time, throws complete to the tight end. It's caught by Bryce Kennan. This is going to be 4th and about a yard in 4-down territory, Yogi?
Oh, 1,000%. I think this game is 4-down territory. But that was a really nice job. Again, remember, this defensive line has so much freedom. You know, when you see them line up pre-snap, the splits are dramatic. You're looking at it and you're saying, wow, should you just run the ball right over your left guard? But they understand that a defender from Indiana is going to find their way into that gap. Vic Poggi and his quarterback know it. Stands in the pocket, delivers. Here's 4th and 1. Wouldn't be surprised if they ran it here.
Cartavius Norton, who has been a chunk play monster on this drive, is the back. Charlotte's 5 of 10 on 4th down this year. And Norton gets blown up and then steps away. And the 3rd man gets there and brings him down. Jalen Walker blew the play up. Norton almost survived it, but the pursuit came to finish him off.
Sean Asbury, the safety, is the one that finishes him off. But you're right, Walker finds his way immediately into the backfield. Quick strike, good bounce off from Norton. Bam, right there, there's the first hit. He bounces off, and this secondary finishes it up. Sanguinetti and company, big stop for IU.
Opening refresh presented by Saatva. You deserve a Saatva luxury mattress. Should be a good environment again next week with a home Big Ten opener when Maryland comes to town here on the Big Ten Network. And if things go as they're going, it's possible. We'll see, what else happens today. But this team is knocking on the door of the top 25. They're inside the top 35 in the AP this week after beating UCLA last Saturday. So after the turnover on downs, the stop by the defense, back to the ground for Kaylon Black, who had a couple of first half carries, and he gets 5.
Yeah, such a big part of Curt Cignetti when he came here, right? It was the Google Me, it was all the excitement around it. There's people saying, is it bravado? Is it real? And I think he's just allowing this team, which the way he talks and the way he communicates very directly to them, is to just be confident enough where they're not surprised by the outcome. He said that before UCLA a week ago. So don't be surprised when we come in here celebrating after we beat the Bruins. They did exactly that.
Back to the ground in Black. And he's got a first down. I mean, they are not just winning, Yogi. They are dominating. 3 straight wins by 20 points. If they do it again today, it'll be just the second time in 100 years and the first time since 1990 that they've done it in 4 straight. Omar Cooper with a great catch, and that's a first down to move the chains to pick up of 11. Brett?
Yeah, Guy, I think when Coach Cignetti was talking about energy once more of it, obviously you always want to play with that energy, but I think part of what we're seeing here is a shift in expectation. This is a business-like approach. They are no longer surprised by success. Previous years, Indiana teams might have been surprised by scoring on every possession on offense, but this is an expectation of success that has been different with Coach Cignetti.
Elijah Green with his first carry of the day, and that's a pickup of 4. And Rhett, you've been around this program. You played here. You know what the history is. And, as coaches change, promises come. But it seems like very quickly it's clear that the things that Curt Cignetti says have quite a bit of substance behind them.
Well, no question. And I think on the outside, it looks like arrogance, right? But on the inside, it is a fervent belief in the blueprint. And that's what athletic director Scott Dolson was so attracted to with Cignetti, is that he has carried through on everything that they talked about in their interview. And as Scott Dolson said, even more delivering on what he had promised for this team. They left their first interview, and Scott Dolson said, "You really think you can win here?" He was like, "If I have average resources, we can win at Indiana."
Yeah, and they've got above average resources in that regard. I'm curious, Rick, because you spent so much time with the players. You got the Under the Hood podcast where you talk to players every single week. I feel as though they feel and feed off of the confidence from Coach Cignetti. I'm curious what you've learned and gleaned. We talked to a few yesterday. It was an obvious yes. You've talked to so many.
Yeah, and as Kaylon Black makes that explosive run on the ground there, part of that really talented and deep group of running backs, I think it comes down to detail. We were talking to defensive coordinator Brian Haynes, who spent some time with Urban Meyer at Ohio State, and as he relates it back to Coach Curt Cignetti, there is comparisons there. There is a laser focus on the details of what it takes to be a winner, and that's what Coach Cignetti has instilled in these players. That's what I hear time and time again talking to these guys.
Kaylon Black again, feeding him. Black breaks through. He dives. Is he in? Yes. Touchdown, Hoosiers.
Well, there's one thing to feeling confident, and there's another when you are playing confident. And Kaylon Black and this group has done that. Let's see if he gets in here right at the end. Reaches for the pylon. Bolt extended. It's going to be close.
I don't think so, Yogi. Well, let's see. The question here is he hits the pylon with his arm.
Yep.
So if the ball's outside of the pylon, then it's a touchdown as long as he's not touching out of bounds. And I think you're right. It is a touchdown. Once you hit the pylon, you get the goal line around the globe, as you say, right? The goal line extended. And he got it. You saw it on the first look. Good eye. Well, it's been fun looking at this team all day if you're an Indiana fan.
Kalon Black saying, hey, you might want to Google me too. How about this IU program? We're on our way for another one.
Well, that was the quote of the introductory press conference, right? Google me, I win. We Googled. He's right. Look at the highest winning percentage among active FBS coaches, including their FCS or D2 records. Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, winning 90% of his games. Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, Lincoln Riley, Dabo Swinney, and Curt Cignetti.
What's interesting about, you look at that stat and their most recent job of all those coaches on that list, Lincoln Riley was the only one that was really in this new transfer portal era, and it wasn't what it is now. And I just love the ideology of Curt Cignetti bringing in new faces, new players to this program and their backgrounds.
Well, a lot like Lincoln Riley, when we talk to SC, it's about guys that fit here. Indiana's got a good fit right now.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Purdue sucks. But so does Michigan and Ohio State. Go IU!
Whether we're playing in the Rose Bowl or in a parking lot, it's all the same.
Well, that's called calling your shot, planting your flag.
Well, I think also it's changing a culture, right? Rhett knows this culture as well as anybody, right? It hasn't had sustained success in a really long time. You could argue if ever, really. And he had to come in and get people believing. And I think you've seen that in the era that we're in NIL, the transfer portal. You want it to be
number 66, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You want it to be an attractive place for guys that are getting recruited, and look what he's done, right? Coaches start 3-0, and looks like today will be 4-0, of course. And I just think that the way he did it, again, I go to the 29 transfers. 23 of them have played at least 3+ years in college football, and 14 were all conference. So he brought in winners. He didn't just bring in bodies.
Cartavius Norton, who ran it effectively on the first drive of the half, gets about 10 yards back to bring up second down and manageable.
And I think another part of that that's allowed this thing to be successful is the staff. He brought in so many people that had been with him for so long, so they could hit the ground relatively running. All the players that came from JMU, they understood the way in which this program practiced, operated in the offseason, how they talked. So they were just championing this and backing up the, yeah, I win, with real facts and then real work.
That was interesting, right? Talking to the players and the coaches yesterday. That's what they said. It's like, it's a great quote, Google me. But really, if you're a player in the portal, you go, well, let me go check. Oh, he's right. He dominated at James Madison. He wins conference championships.
Yeah, and it happens so fast. I mean, look at Curtis Rourke. He's a great example. This is a guy who's thinking he's going to go to the NFL and exhaust his eligibility. And then he hears from this staff and this program and then sees the success on his visit and the plan that Curt Cignetti had for him and this team. And he said, okay, let's come on back to college and run it back one more time, but this time in the Big Ten.
Third down at 6. Here comes pressure. Then they back out, and it's nearly intercepted by Jalen Walker. Inches from a pick.
Walker has been all over the field today. Watch him. Look at his eyes right there. He just knows exactly how to time it. Look at that left arm. Swats it, almost gets the batted ball to himself for a pick. Look at that man get up. His speed, his explosive ability, straight line speed, but also within the box there as a linebacker, that has stood out for me today, guy.
Miles Price is going to try and return this, but he gets swallowed up. Indiana's offense coming back on the field in 15 seconds. Take a look at our coaching profile, sponsored by Discover.
just a huge part. You see those numbers. You know, defensive coordinator Brian Haynes since 2011, Mike Shanahan since 2016. I mean, these are the guys calling plays and setting the tempo and the tone in staff meetings with their respective side of the ball, with the players, with the new faces. Then you kind of look on down, Tino Sunseri, you look on the defensive line, and Coach Pat Kuntz. I mean, there's so many talented guys that know the way.
Justice Ellison out across the 40, going to pick up a 17. So that's the coaching continuity with Curt Cignetti, and it included at the bottom strength and conditioning, right? Derek Owings talking to Tino Sunseri, the quarterback coach on the field before the game. He said that's as critical as anything, right? Yogi, you've been in programs, you've coached. The strength and conditioning coach sometimes runs the program in points of the year.
Yeah, he's got to echo the voice of the man on your screen right there, Curt Cignetti, and then also train in a specific way to the style of play on both sides of the ball. So both coordinators, head coach, strength and conditioning, all on the same page.
Taven Jackson has come into the game at quarterback, replacing Curtis Rourke. First opportunity for the sophomore transfer from Tennessee. And so Curtis Rourke's day is done.
And I'll tell you what, I know it's looked easy for Indiana in terms of the scoring margin the first few weeks of the season, the first month of the season now, but it's so hard to get your backups in and get real quality reps for a backup quarterback in actual situations. And Taven Jackson came out of high school as a big-time quarterback, Elite 11 quarterback. He's in his second stop now. Talked to him before the game. He feels so confident and comfortable in this system.
With time, but he steps out. And gets back around the line of scrimmage. So what's your review on Curtis Rourke? Now you've seen him in person, you've watched all the tape, 5 years of football, and interesting to hear the coaches say he's getting better every week. So where would you say he's at now when you think about, you know, the landscape of quarterbacks in the Big Ten?
Well, he's in the top third just based on performance, right? Based on ball placement. I mean, his competitive temperament, that gets you in the door, right? He was a multi-year starter in 2022, the MAC Offensive Player of the Year. And he's just got this belief in himself. Now you add this system. Tino Sunseri's an emerging big-time coach in all of college football, coaching him on the daily.
Jackson under pressure, and he gets sacked by Donovan Spellman. Now that's a loss of 8. And that is how the third quarter will end.
This is
fourth down coming up for
the third quarter.
Indiana. That's one of the few things that hasn't gone right for Indiana today. The Hoosiers in control as we head to the fourth.
Back here in Bloomington, where the Hoosiers are up 45-14 and preparing for their first punt of the day, which tells you how efficient and explosive this offense has been. And a lot of that comes back to the quarterback play. Coach Tino Sunseri puts a lot of control on these quarterbacks. They have the keys to the offense, as he says. But when you're driving, using this analogy of the car, you can do a lot of different things, right? Direction, speed, that's the QB autonomy. But the rules of the road, or the offensive scheme, and the other drivers, or the defense, dictate those things. And Tino says we are driving a Rolls Royce as James Evans gets that punt off. But the other thing that Tino said, ball out, and it does look like Charlotte was able to jump on it. But just to finish that thought on driving the car, I mean, like, a Rolls Royce is nice, right, guys? But here in this state, I think fans would most compare that to an Indy car up at Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the way and the speed at which they have put points on the board.
Yeah, and how much fun is it for Tino Sunseri to be driving that car? He's shotgun with his old receiver from back in the day, and Mike Shanahan as the offensive coordinator. Both of them just absolute stars in college at Pitt. And I just think they're on the same page. And I think they also, whether it's their youth and experience, they just continue to exude and offer so much confidence to this offense, whether it's Curtis Rourke or Taven Jackson driving it.
I'd like to see Curt Cignetti in a Rolls Royce, though.
Yeah, me too. That's a marketing opportunity right there.
Trexler Ivy hands it off to Cartavius Norton, and that gets stopped up. And let's go back to Chicago for a studio update on Ohio State with Rick Pizzo. Rick?
Guy, it is big play day at the Horseshoe. Moment ago, Travion Henderson, this 40-yard touchdown run. Quinshon Judkins has an 86-yard touchdown, and Emeka Egbuka a 68-yarder. It's 35-14 OSU.
All right, so they have flipped the switch there. They have flipped the switch since we last heard from Rick. Of course, they'll be at at Michigan State next week. First catch for Adam Hopkins today, but that gets snuffed out by Jameer Johnson, the transfer from Texas, with a big hit.
In the back end, if there was a question mark for this Indiana team, it's that, right? Can't wait to see how they do get tested as their schedule just continues on, as the quarterbacks just get better and better. And that's the position group, and they know it. They know they haven't been tested by elite quarterback play thus far this season.
3rd down and 12. James Carpenter coming on pressure, but Ivy able to get it to Bryce Kennan, but no gain, and now it's 4th down.
Watch Aiden Fisher, just at home, just imagine playing linebacker right now and what is going through your head. There is the leader for this defense. He reads it the whole way, puts his foot in the ground, sees that screen, beats the offensive line, then turns it back in to his defense and Mikhail Kamara. I mean, he's so savvy guy. His functional football intelligence is off the charts, whether it's depicting plays, predicting plays, reading plays. He's so impressive.
Michael O'Shaughnessy punting from a dangerous spot. Oh, Indiana brings the heat, and he just gets it away, and a fair catch made by Keyshawn Williams, a punt of 42 yards. Aiden Fisher leading the way, flying around, and the Hoosier defense having another good day. Tonight, Saturday Night Volleyball returns as Sarah Franklin leads 7th-ranked Wisconsin against Texas A&M. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. They may only know winning as they grow up as Hoosier fans, the way this thing's starting. Taven Jackson, of course, his older brother, an Indiana basketball great, Trace Jackson Davis, who was an All-American player here. And Yogi, you mentioned this is a guy who doesn't just have great family lineage, but he arrives with great potential. He wants to throw. Steps into it. Uncorks down the field, and it's just broken up before Anderson Kobe can grab it. And nearly a touchdown throw for Jackson.
You always think at quarterback, you got to have a unique trait. For Taven Jackson.
Number 11. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. 1st down.
Elijah Culp there, who made the play and got penalized.
Yeah, a little hold there. But I think every quarterback has to have a unique trait if you want to compete at this level. And for Taven Jackson, it's his arm talent. It's just so natural. You watch him in high school. We had him at the Elite 11. Watch him in practice as you see the pass break up and the hold in advance of that. Nice play at the end there. Hold early on. But he's just so gifted there. His arm talent's off the chart. So what gives? Ball batted down there. The biggest thing that I think people forget about in recruiting is that it is the most developmental position in all of sports, the most complex position in all of sports. And it doesn't just happen when you get to this level, whether it was at Tennessee, here at Indiana, anywhere across the country in major college football. It is hard. So I love the development that he's gaining, not just under Tino Sincere, but also under Curtis Rourke. I think his ceiling is extremely high. I think his position at this school is extremely high, and you should be hyped about this young quarterback. He can come in if he's needed to. I don't think there's a dramatic drop-off, and as he continues to gain experience, especially in situational football, if he can minimize and really be special when it comes to discernment like Curtis Rourke has, he's going to be able to thrive within this system and in this league if he becomes a starter next season.
It was interesting to talk to Curtis Rourke about how he learned the playbook, and you just imagine all the things that he can pass down, some that he learned from his older brother Nathan, that he can pass down to Taven Jackson.
And look, so much of the position is, yes, making the elite plays, making special throws, but it's also, again, I go back to that word Bill Walsh used discernment all the time, right? Here comes a little pressure. How is he going to make the right decision here, dropping back?
Steps up, hit as he throws, ball comes out. It's an incomplete pass. Dre Martin came in to make the contact, and now it's back-to-back punts after Indiana scored on every drive before its last.
The quarterback began throwing prior to the contact.
Nice job, just effort getting there to the quarterback. Go, go, go by Martin. They like him to transfer, as you referenced, from South Carolina. And I think even for Taven Jackson, these are reps you can't replicate this in practice. I mean, you got a different color jersey on. Nobody's going to hit you. Nobody's going to come close to you as a passer. But he had to feel that. Great opportunity for him as they're going to go for it on a 4th down.
Taven Jackson comes back out. Play clock is low. And now a timeout from Indiana with 1 second on the play clock.
Indiana, the first of the half. Be full media.
Good opportunity here. We'll see if they keep the offense on the field when we return. The Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway is back and helping college students chase their dreams. See full rules and enter before September 30th at drpeppertuition.com. So Indiana lined up to go for it, 4th and 6. Called a timeout and is keeping the offense on the field, Yogi. Taven Jackson with a 4th down opportunity here.
I don't think this is going to be a quick kick either. I think this is, they're going for it, try the situation.
Kalon Black is the running back. Jackson, they bring pressure and he beats it. There's Miles Cross for the 1st down.
Copy paste from a week ago against the UCLA Bruins, man. They see man-to-man coverage, you know pressure's coming. He sees it, he's locked in on Cross the whole time. No linebacker, he's got to get it up and down or in front of a safety, but just sees it. And I like this. I understand if you see the score and you're a Charlotte fan, but you got to work your situations with your backup quarterback, 4-down territory in the fringe red zone area. No problem with that call.
Here's Black. Cuts it back. A flag comes in behind the play. Looking on that last replay, though, it really is so effortless coming out of his hand.
I mean, he can just flick it. So as long as he's going to the right place, you're good.
Offense, number 45. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
You'll see it right there. Trey Walker. Yep, again, those are so hard because those backs are so athletic and they're moving behind you and you're fighting your tail off just to keep your hands inside. And a huge point of emphasis for this team this week was blocking from tight ends and wide receivers on the perimeter. But I'll say this, after last week and all the penalties they had, Guy, pretty impressive today for Indiana.
2 penalties today after 14 last week. Here's Black. He bursts out of the backfield, and then he's brought down after a short gain. Pick up a 4. Well, you heard the teams that Curt Cignetti mentioned when he had the microphone at the basketball game. It was the last 3 games. Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue. But before then, it feels like this team has such a canvas to go out and paint a picture that Indiana fans haven't seen in a long time. Timeout taken by Charlotte here with 10:09 remaining
Timeout
in the 4th quarter.
Charlotte, the first of the half will be 30 seconds in length.
And we'll take a 30-second timeout. Next Saturday, the Hoosiers square off with the Terps in a conference clash. Coverage begins with Big Ten Tailgate live from Bloomington next Saturday, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Maryland taking care of business against Villanova today. And that should make for a fun matchup next week, with Indiana feeling good and at 4-0. Now Jackson uncorks end zone, and it's undercut by Ali. Omar Cooper got free. Pardon me, that's Dante Balfour on the pass breakup.
Nice job from Balfour. He's just chasing. You're thinking from up here, it's a touchdown all day long. And he just catches up to the ball, knocks it away right in front of Cooper. And he knows that's the second one. That's the second one opportunity. And again, you go back to game reps and timing and anticipation, those little things. Great to experience here for this quarterback.
Now on 3rd and 15, pressure, and he keeps his cool. Gets it to Williams, who cuts it back. And Keyshawn Williams gets very near the line to gain. This will bring up 4th down and about 1.
Are you kidding me? After he catches the ball, just the automatic like X button spin move, and here comes a little hurry up offense.
Already one 4th down conversion on this drive. Now they get it to Elijah Green, who breaks through. And Indiana breaks the 50-point mark today.
And this run scheme is just hard to defend. Keep an eye on the end defender on the line of scrimmage and watch what happens. He doesn't know. Is Jackson going to keep it? Is the back have it? And all of a sudden, you're nowhere. You're right in the middle there. You're caught. Which way do I go? And running back says, I'm just going to go all the way to the end zone. Elijah Green with a tug.
It's 4th of the year. And now Radicic on for the point after. 52 points for Indiana's offense. One of the highest scoring teams in the league and in the nation. Keeps it rolling. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense. And by DirecTV. Stream Big Ten football all season long on DirecTV without a satellite dish. Coming up tonight, the final drive recaps the entire day around the conference. That's at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. This Indiana team averages 50 points a game. They have 52 in this game with over 9.5 remaining.
Efficient, explosive, and deep. You could argue now. A lot of guys are getting touches.
Warren with a short kick. And Charlotte will have some of its best starting field position of the day at the 35-yard line. I mean, they have spread it around. It doesn't just mean the passing game when you spread it around. It can mean the run game too, right? They've got 6 rushing touchdowns on the day.
Complimentary football. And I think when you look at just...
By 5 different guys.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
But, I mean, you just look big picture. And I think when we all looked at the schedule, and you're thinking, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they were undefeated. But the style in which, the depth in which 6 guys, or 5 players have 6 rushing touchdowns today, for instance, I don't think there's very many people that saw that coming prior to the season. Ball out.
Indiana says they have it. Let's check on this. The starters mostly have come off. And Indiana does have the ball. The takeaway and the recovery. Bryson Bonds showing it as he came out. Tyreek Tucker on the bottom of this pile.
Just runs into his own guy. I mean, that's how the ball
goes out. I think Mario Landino got a hand in there too, Yogi. Let's see.
He just kind of squirts out right. Yeah, I think you're right. From the bottom of the pile.
Boy, do they love Mario Landino. Talking to Bryant Haynes, he said this freshman can be special.
He walks around as though he knows the work that's necessary for him to be at his best. You know, was a mid-year enrollee, missed the spring, but just continues to grow as this defense does. Remember, at the beginning of the game, they were on their heels a little bit. They settled in, played complementary football offensively, And this is going to be a fun out all year long because if they keep growing that depth, Landino being one of those key elements, they'll wreak some havoc in some backfields.
Jackson taking a shot. What a catch, nearly. And Donovan McCulley had it broken up by the earth. Oh, my goodness.
It's like he just kept going up and up and up. Watch him leap once, then twice again. Oof. Looks like he had it. Didn't ever completed the catch. But that's the athleticism this fan base knows extremely well. They want to find a way to get him involved. There's such depth at this receiver position. I hope he finds a way to work his way into this rotation because his skill set is unique.
Kobe Martin with that carry, a pickup of 3. I mean, sometimes you jump and then fall, and sometimes you just fall out of the sky. Donovan McCulley looked like he fell out of the sky.
It was a quick little jump, and then he gathered his feet. Let's take another look at this one. We'll check it out.
Aiden Fisher staying cool over there. Kobe Martin still at the game at running back, getting his opportunity with Taven Jackson, QB2, handing it off. All right,
now let's take a look.
Tell us what this feels like, Yogi.
Yeah, look at his feet. He jumps once, and then watch him gather, and then the explosion back up. That's what's so amazing. I mean, are you kidding me? Climbing the ladder? Could have done a windmill dunk in that regard. You see Black and his teammates, they know that athleticism. He got injured early in the season. A lot of depth at that position, but his ability is well known around these parts.
It's a tough wide receiver room to crack, isn't it? Jackson, pressure, cuts it loose. McCulley, and he can't get to it.
Cuts it loose and took another shot in the backfield. And he's just been a little bit off, right? I mean, he had a shot for 3 touchdowns thus far since he's entered the game. Watch it again. Great route, running right through the cut and just beyond the 6'5" frame. Oh.
Yeah, guys, I mean, just to add to your point about the depth of the wide receiver room, right? I mean, Donovan McCulley was one of the best receivers in this conference second half of last season. And yeah, I think the fit has been something that he's trying to work on with this offense, trying to understand the nuances of what these coaches are asking him to do with this scheme. And I think the more that he improves when the ball is not coming to him, the more opportunities he's going to get. And as you can see, I mean, the skill set, the athleticism is absolutely obvious and a big-time talent. So I think the more this season goes on, the more comfortable he'll get. By the way, just to add a note on 97, Mario Landino, who's in the game right now on the defensive line. I mean, yes, he has all league potential according to these coaches, and he has earned the nickname Crash Test because he is not afraid to put his face in the fan down there in the trenches.
He blows this play up for a moment, and then coming in to make the tackle is his help. But Landino was right through the line of scrimmage on that play again. And you heard what Rhett said. Yes, they think that they can get an all-conference level performer out of him.
There he is right there, 97. Kind of blows it up. This defensive line is built on getting vertical penetration, and the linebackers make plays from there. I think his role will continue to grow. And I think when you're winning, having this early success like Indiana's having, everybody wants to keep showing up in practice. So whether that's a freshman on the defensive line making plays, this secondary making plays like they did there, or even the receiver that we've been talking about, and Donovan McCulley. Like, it's easy when you're losing to sulk because you're not getting PT, but when you're winning, you just want to keep sharpening your sword. And leaders like Aiden Fisher are guys that just continue to lead that charge every day, preparation, off the field, just acting like a pro.
4th down and short coming up here for Charlotte. But we had so much fun talking to Aiden Fisher yesterday, didn't we, Yogi? What an enjoyable young man to spend some time with. Charlotte picks up this 4th down. I mean, he's so critical to the program, right? He's such a leader. He comes from JMU. And what he represents, what he plays for, is just so special.
Yeah, there's a reason he rocks number 4 in honor of his mother and his 2 sisters. when he was 10 years old, his father, Chris, passed away. And then Vinny, his stepfather, passed away a few years later. And he said what my mom did and how she showed up for my family, and also what he felt having to show up for his sisters and be a leader and the quote-unquote man of the house at an early age really changed and impacted his life in so many different areas. He shared the story first with Ashley Adamson at Big Ten Media Days, and then he shared with us again yesterday. And just hearing him talk through that, it's so inspiring to anybody who's gone through adverse situations, has lost a parent, and just finding or competing to find a way to move forward. His mom Leslie, sister Addison, sister Kylie, they're often at every game. This weekend they're all hanging out in College of Charleston, going to a concert, but I know they're so proud of him, and he's so proud to wear number 4.
That's such a great story. And you know, when you're building a program, you're talking about you're building around a dude that solid, right? That solid of a player, that solid of a person, right?
Yeah, and guys, look, I mean, nobody wishes for the experiences that Aiden Fisher had, you know, growing up, but you can see that those experiences molded who he is for this team, not just on the field, but as a leader, as a mouthpiece for this coaching staff that was trying to instill their blueprint in this team, right? A blueprint of consistent winning. He's the example of paying that cost, and that cost is high if you're trying to find consistent success, but Aiden Fisher is a shining example of that, and he's got some real pro influences too, right? He watches Luke Kuechly in terms of his preparation methods, tries to emulate those. He was a big fan of London Fletcher growing up as a Commanders fan. So he's doing all the right things here, guys.
Yeah, he told us he watches Luke Kuechly, not just Luke Kuechly film.
Pass interference, defense, number 22. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
But it's not just, he said, you know, anybody can watch players. It's about watching film and understanding who the coordinator is and what they're trying to accomplish.
Automatic, first down.
Which, Yogi, you've watched the film as a coach and as a player and now as an analyst. That's a pretty advanced way to watch film for a player, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's not just rolling through the game cut-ups. He's watching specific down and distances, so much so that he's given the freedom at linebacker. We see a shot down the field, we'll double move. But he's given the freedom at linebacker guy to set the front, call different plays based on the tendencies that he has studied alongside defensive coordinator Brian Haynes. And I think the last element that we've all really been endeared by from him is that he didn't get looks coming out of high school. And he said he always wondered why he didn't. And then, of course, he goes to his first stop. But his dream and his desire was always to play at this level. He always had belief that he could. And then when Coach Cignetti took this job, he said he looked at his buddies when the news kind of broke on their phones and on television.
That's right.
And they all said, "You're going with him, aren't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I got something to prove at this level." He's added 10 pounds since he showed up. He's got used to playing with that weight. And you add in the study acumen, how he carries himself, his personal story of loss and adversity, who he plays for, you can't not root for Aiden Fisher on every front.
Great play, by the way, there from Tyreek Tucker as well, who's a valuable piece of this defense. This is not just a guy who made an immediate impact here. We said it coming in. He was the Big Ten's leading tackler coming into play today. So, you know, he's looking forward to getting fully into conference play next week when Maryland comes to town. Trexler Ivy gets that to Henry Rutledge and a pickup of about 6. Well, you know, what do you think? You know, Charlotte, we know they've really front-loaded their schedule. They played North Carolina and Indiana now. And talking to Biff Poggi, you know, this is year 2. They really want to be better this year than they were last year. He's had a lot of success. He spent the time at Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, has a vision for the program. And, you know, their quarterback hurt last week. Deshaun Purdy was their backup. Max Brown was the starter from Florida. They're hopeful to have him back soon, and hopefully they can get things moving in the right direction again when he returns, if not before. And Trexler Ivy showed a little something today, too, as he nearly throws a pick there.
Well, I think for this team, their biggest challenge is melding everyone together. 71 new faces. That's the second most in college football behind North Texas. Michigan State notably has 61. And a lot of them came from big-time schools. But you got to find a way as a head coach to put it together. When guys are injured, that's where it's become a challenge for Charlotte.
Indiana takes over with Taven Jackson, handing it off to Kobe Martin. Take a look at what Indiana has coming up. Of course, Big Ten play began last week, but next week, fully into it. Maryland at home. That'll be here on Big Ten Network, and then they go to Northwestern before an October 12th bye, and then things pick up again with Nebraska.
I'll tell you what, I just go to look at the Ats. They're only going on the road 3 times, right? This is an advantageous schedule. You always knew they would play hard, right? Especially after the first couple games. We saw that again. That was evident today. But also what's evident is the skill set they have. Offensively, you know they're going to be extremely aggressive. Same thing on the defensive side. So you start looking at that schedule, and if this place, right, if this stadium, if the Rock can become really rocking, this could be a huge advantage. Huge advantage for Curt Cignetti and this fan base.
An all-around performance for the Hoosiers today. 2 minutes remain.
Welcome inside our Big Ten Network studios. I'm Rick Pizzo. Get you back to the game that you're watching shortly, but also a reminder, don't forget, coming up in the mid-afternoon window, it's a 3:30 Eastern kick at Beaver Stadium in State College as the 10th-ranked team in the country, Penn State, takes on Kent State. Nittany Lions, big-time favorites in this one at home. Kickoff again set for 3:30 Eastern time. That's coming up next, but for now, back to your game.
1, 2, you know what to do. Indiana, Indiana, around for you. We'll fight for the dream, Penn State, for the glory of what I do. Never daunted, when I falter, in the battle, we'll fight true.
Well, for the 4th week in a row, it's going to be another happy locker room for the Hoosiers. 2 minutes away from a 4-0 start for just the 4th time in over 3 decades. As we're now under 2 minutes, and Elijah Green takes the handoff and gets a first down. So the question is, how good is this Indiana team? Biff Poggi, the head coach for Charlotte, was on the staff at Michigan. He knows Big Ten football. He said the Big Ten better get ready because Indiana is going to win a lot of games as long as Curt Cignetti is here.
Yeah, and I think he nailed it. You talked about his experience 2 times, 2 different stints at Michigan. His son played at Michigan. He famously joined Jim Harbaugh's staff, really helped that program transition culturally. He's been given a ton of credit in that regard. Actually saw Jim Harbaugh this week as his team in the NFL is now practicing in Charlotte's facility. But you're right, he knows this league and knows what wins. And I think it's physicality. Okay, check. They want to be a physical out. It's creativity. Check. And I think most importantly, especially freshly coming in to cover this league guy, quarterback play has not been elite in my eyes. You add in the 4 new schools, okay, it takes it up a level. You add in some of these new names like Curtis Rourke, and that to me jumps it up a level. He's playing in the top 1/3 of Big Ten quarterbacks. It's still early. I get what their opponents have been, but he's experienced enough, in my opinion at least, to think this is going to continue. I don't see him hitting any wall of any sort. Now, how do they play in critical moments? How do they handle some of these other teams on their schedule? All TBD. But you should feel really good in year 1 in the Big Ten under Curt Cignetti of the direction and trajectory of this program.
Yeah, their next close game will be their first close game of the year, right?
And I think, most importantly, too, they understand the reality, right? They know what their schedule was. That's why last week was so big to go do what they did at the Rose Bowl. And I still go back to, I love what Coach Cignetti told his team prior to them entering the field. He said, when we come in after the game, don't be surprised if we win and we win big. And I don't think he said if. Yeah. When we win and when we win big. And I just think of, like, as a player, I'd imagine Rhett would agree too. If your coach told you that, because you're probably in your own head being like, well, we rolled Florida International, Western Illinois, we know they're challenged this year. They're not that good. How good are we? And then you hear that from your coach with all of his experience winning. They walked out, at least it looked like when they ran out of the tunnel in LA last week, saying, yeah, we believe this is a grounded confidence, not one that is just built on social media.
The most explosive scoring offense through 4 games. And right there, that's Curt Cignetti, the first Indiana coach to ever start his Indiana tenure 4-0. and he's done it with style. He doesn't seem like a guy that cares about style points, but make no mistake, this team has had style points.
Yeah, and I think their style is going to work, and going to work again and again and again. That's just part of the process. You look at him and all of his stops. He's rebuilt every place he's ever been to as a head coach, and he's done it here extremely efficiently, quickly, and thankfully for him, he's got leaders like Aiden Fisher and Curtis Rourke and company also helping him lead the way with an experienced staff.
Rhett Lewis with Curt Cignetti on the field. Rhett?
All right, Coach, I think we know you well enough to know that it wasn't perfect, but with today's 52 points, your offense has now scored more points over these first 4 games than any Indiana team in any 4-game stretch in history. What does that tell you about what they're doing?
No other Indiana team had the schedule we've played. We didn't play very well on defense. We did. It was a 17-14 game, and we scored 35 straight points. So it's another dominant win. I don't think we had any major injuries, and you know, we can build off of this and get ready for another conference game.
Coach, we know you are a proven winner. You've got a blueprint and a track record that supports it. Where have you seen that blueprint and that formula take hold here through these first 4 games?
Well, I saw it take hold early on, way back in winter. And, you know, we're playing fairly close to the way that we want them to play. But we're not there yet, trust me.
And what is that message to your team as you get back into conference play here for the meat of this schedule?
Well, we're going to enjoy this win for 24 hours and then get ready for the next one. And got to stack good days together next week.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, guy, Yogi, I'm going to try to be as cool and calm in the heat as Curtis Rourke was here. That was a fun one.
This is a fun place to be right now, isn't it?
Energy, juice, all the things.
Coming up next, we'll send you to Chicago for a Big Ten game break. For our entire crew, thanks for watching. Indiana's 4-0.